Very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's afternoon, sorry. I think we have spent a lot of time, and I will try to be as brief as possible. And as you all know, the Ghana experience is about putting into practice, that is research and practice. So I'm going to try to put the two together to see how it works in Ghana. This program, at least developed from Prata, we call the Teacher Community Assistance Initiative. Now, this is a project of the Ghana Education Service. Maybe some of you might know the structure in Ghana. Ghana, we have the Ministry of Education, which is where we have the politicians, the civil servants. And then we have the Ghana Education Service. That is the implementer of the policies. So sometimes you seem to see confusion between the Ghana Education Service and then the Ministry of Education. Because sometimes the civil servants are trying to do what the public servants should do, and the other versa. So sometimes it creates a lot of confusion. But the basic concept is that the policymakers are there. They have to design coming from the parliament and whatever. And then the education service does the implementation of all the policies. So we also develop some policies, but they are for implementation. And this program is done in collaboration with three major institutions. We have the Ghana National Association of Teachers. Now, this association is very, very strong and powerful in Ghana because they control most of the teachers in the country. Right now, we have two teacher unions, but it looks like the Ghana National Association of Teachers, they hold the biggest number, and they are operating mostly in the basic level. Then we have the Graduate Teachers Association, who also seem to be operating at the senior high school level. So we decided to work with the Ghana Association of Teachers because they really work in the basic level. Then we have the National Youth Employment Program, that's the NYEP. We are very, very lucky to have this program in place, though it has three main objectives: to provide employment for the youth of Ghana, as we heard from France. It's a big problem. And then we don't really have the culture of volunteerism, because even when you apply that, you have to pay them and whatever. So we are very lucky to have the NYEP in place, which we find to be a very good partner. And then we have the Innovation for Poverty Action, who are into research, and they are working in collaboration with our universities in the country. So this is where you will see research and practice at go. Then maybe some of you need to understand the situation in Ghana. As you all know, my colleague from Kenya is talking about the pride of Africa. And Ghana is the entry point to Africa. So if you want to get to Africa, you have to come through the gate, and the gate is Ghana. And it's a very small country. Some of you just heard about Ghana during the World War. You only missed the penalty, otherwise you have been at the final. It was just unfortunate. But it's a very small country of just about 21 million people, and we have under 15 to be about 40%. So which means we have a youth program that we need to really work on the youth, because they hold majority of the people in Ghana. And we say it is gate to Africa because it is the friendliest country in West Africa. You are always welcome. So after here, those who want to come to Ghana, you don't need any serious visa. Just let me know, and we will get you through. We have a lot of languages that we are struggling with, but we don't want to call these as vernacular, as my sister from Kenya said, because it has some colonial connotation. So we want to call as Ghanaian languages, because we are proud of those languages. But the white man decided to call it vernacular, because it's different from the English language. So we want to call it Ghanaian language. And we have the constitutional mandate, free, compulsory, universal basic education. I think Ghana is among the first countries that usually sign to some of these international protocols. So we are almost there. MDGs, we signed. We are among the first countries to sign. Education for all. Almost all these international conventions, we are there. And you can imagine how committed we are to our educational system. And we operate the 26334 educational system. Just recently, we included the kindergarten as also part of the basic education. because we know that if you catch them young, at least there's a probability that they will survive in the system. Now, about issues of low learning levels, which I think Annie has already talked about. It is very, very scary because children go to school and look like there is too much emphasis on access, because we've done all we could to get the children into the school. Right now, we are talking about almost 96% of our children in school. We still have some of them who are out there, but we have a number of programs to bring them in. We have the capitation grant trying to abolish school fees. We have introduced the school uniforms, free exercise books, the school feeding. They are all interventions to ensure that we get all these children into school. So at least we are doing very well as far as access is concerned. But in terms of learning, there is very little. Some of the data that we have, 50% of grade 3 children, minimum competency in reading, writing, and basic arithmetic, which is very, very serious. And that is by our own National Educational Assessment 2009, the latest. And from the baseline survey that we did for this program, 21% grade 3 students can do 2-digit addition. That is for P2 level. Very serious. And 16% students can also read simple P2 level tests. Pupils are engaged for only 39% of instructional time available. World Bank report, which is not good enough. We are not talking about the presence of the teacher. We are talking about the children sitting in the classroom learning, which is very serious. And if it is 39%, it means then that maybe not much is being done in the classroom. So now the focus is in the classroom. What happens? And you can imagine the amount of money that we are spending on education. Sometimes when the issue goes to Parliament, they think that education we are receiving the largest. So why is it that we are always asking for more money? So this is a time for us to look at more cost-effective interventions, because most of these interventions are very, very expensive. And already 30% of the national budget is for basic education. And basic education is getting 55% of this, which is, I think, is very large. So that is why we have introduced what we call as a NALAP, that is National Accelerated Literacy Program. Now, this is where the Ghanaian language, to get the children to be able to read. So in class 1, they start theory with the Ghanaian language, with English as a subject that needs to be taught. And then they move on until they get to primary 3, where it is 50-50. 50% Ghanaian language, 50% English language. And we are very hopeful that with this intervention, at least you'll be able to help our children to be able to read and write. Because even in arithmetic, if the child cannot read and write, it's become very difficult. So whilst he's doing the sum, he's rather thinking about how to translate the language before he does the mathematics. So it's a very big problem. But we've also realized that teachers are just coping with children at a wide range of levels. You go to primary 1, and then you realize that the people who are there, not all of them could be considered as at the level of primary 1. You go to primary 3, maybe some of them, the level will be in primary 1. And they have put all these people together, and the teacher has very little to do to ensure that these children learn better. So the TKI goals and objectives, that's adapting insights from research studies. We are very lucky to have Pratam. We are learning a lot from Pratam. And we have also the TKI key components, looking at the community involvement, which is very crucial. We want the community to take ownership. We used to have this some time ago, because most of the schools in Ghana were started by the communities. But with the intervention of all these democratic dispensation, where maybe government wanted to just win political points and whatever, they took over all the schools. And so we have lost that community empowerment to be able to take care of their schools. Child-centered, working with the existing systems, very key for the TKI. Child-centered teaching, innovative monitoring, career opportunities, and evaluating impact and program variations towards a national rollout. You see, Ghana, it looks like most people are fed up with the piloting, because you have just a saying that we pilot and the pilot do not, they never land. So it's always hanging there. We try with 2 schools, we are not able to expand. So we don't want to hear about piloting. So that is why we want to look at research in terms of practice, so that we move along the 2. Now, the goals. We want to really complement existing programs by focusing on the lowest half. So this particular program is looking at those who are lagging behind, reinforcing the role of the community by using community assistance. This in a way to help the communities to take ownership of the schools, based on results of rigorous evaluation from India, Kenya, and also consistent with the strategic plan of the education service, because now the issue is more on quality, because it looks like we are forgetting quality and work with quality right now. And also looking at issues of cost effectiveness. Now we have the NYAP, we want to use them as a way of ensuring cost effectiveness and to offer effective entry points into career jobs. We are looking at how the youth, not just an intervention to bring them in, but at least they can exit into other employment programs. Now, results from the 3 studies that we've already shared from Kenya, India, and I don't want to bore you with that. And these are some of the insights that is really building our program in Ghana. Easy to teach students how to read in a relatively short time. All these experiences are from Pratam and other research done elsewhere. But more importantly, we want to look at the local context, which is very, very important for the success of programs like this. We look at the design that's combining the successful component from different programs involving the local partners such as School for Life. Some work has already been done in these areas and we don't want to forget about them, so we have to build on what we already have. And then the wider support. Without support, we cannot move on. So we are working with existing system. We don't want to do anything outside the Ghana education structure. And then we want to work in partnership with the teachers union because we find them to be very, very powerful who can really support us. And then also looking at the cost effectiveness. Already the NYAP is in place, but we want to make it more efficient. And we also want to look at the low-cost programs, small proportion budget, so that we don't waste too much time on these things. Then looking at the community involvement, we are picking the assistance from the community. And it's the community who will have to nominate these people, and then we take them through the various elevating processes. We also want to use the SMCs. The school management committee is also very strong in Ghana. Then we have the Parent Teacher Association. We want to use all these people at least to help us with the program. So they are going to play a very key role in the monitoring of the assistance. And they can also contribute to furniture when it comes to removing the children outside the classroom. Maybe if there's a need for a shed, they can provide that. And then we're also looking at vacation classes held in communities. So during the vacation, at least these assistants can help these children in their communities. And the assistants also train to sensitize and involve the community, because the community need to know about education. That we've already heard, it looks like the communities are not very much aware of what happens in the school. And then working with the existing system, we have the National Youth Employment Program I've already talked about. The SMCs identifying these are the roles. And then within the Ghana Education Service, we have key players like the circuit supervisors who are to monitor the schools. We also have the head teachers and teachers who are key. All these players are going to be heavily involved in the program. We have, in terms of the child-centered teaching, we have 5-day training, followed by refresher training and continuous support by the circuit supervisors to identify and track children's level using sample tests, use games and activities, use and create supplementary materials, focus on literacy, the syllabic and phonic method, and mathematics will focus on place value. These are some of the areas that we want to concentrate during the training to build on the child-centered approaches to teaching. Then in terms of monitoring, we want to really involve the community in the monitoring, because time on task is a big issue in Ghana. At the moment, we are just around 50%, which means that a lot of the children's time is wasted. And we want to get the community to be involved. So the SMCs and the PTAs are going to be involved. And like it was suggested this morning, we also want to use the communication system, the cell phone, to at least to help us in the monitoring. It's a very innovative experience that we want to adopt. Now, almost every part of Ghana, everybody's using the cell phone. So why can't we take advantage of that? And then we also have the centralized base with live data accessible to all stakeholders. So with just a click of a button, we get information elsewhere, and then we can easily tap into that data. And then career opportunity for the youth. we are looking at the traditional challenges. Policies have favored investment and training, but this does not lead to job creation. We have problems. Rural youth flood in the urban centers where opportunities are few or they are not even there, but they are all running there. Most jobs available to young people provide no long-term career path. The youth are moving from just one place to the other, as we heard this morning, and there's no guarantee that they will get a job. So the TICAI advantage that we have is that we are creating jobs for the people within the community, because the youth employment program is just for 2 years. But we want to make sure that at least after the 2 years, they'll be able to get into the program that we call the Untrained Teacher Diploma Program, so that they can be enrolled as teacher practitioners. Then coming to the reaction, we are saying, will it achieve the desired impact on learning outcomes, the program that we want to introduce? If so, is it remedial education or just because of smaller class size? Will remedial education work better if done during or after school hours? And can teachers achieve the same results without assistance if trained to do so? These are the few questions that will be guiding us in whatever research that we have to do. So the research design is programmed this way. We've already done the random selection of 500 schools, and we are putting them into 4 categories. The first category that we have 4 treatment groups and then 1 control. Then 1 is remedial education during the school hours. So we do that during school hours. We have another one that will come after school hours. And then the next one is just putting them into small groups and then giving them the reinforcement. The groups will not be by ability, but the ordinary random grouping. And then we are also looking at providing some sort of support to the regular teachers. And then see which of these, and then we have the control group. So after this, then we'll be able to decide which one or which ones that we can really adapt for the rollout. So 500 schools across 42 districts, and it's nationally representative, and up to 25 students per class. So every assistant will take about a maximum of 25. We don't want that to be too much. And then randomized evaluation, as we have seen the importance of it. The data collection will be done through the school teacher, SMC, PT, and the community members. And then the testing design in collaboration with IPA and the CLDD, that is our curriculum research unit of the Ghana Education Service. We will do the individual administrative test, baseline, first and second end line, written test, and all these. And then we are very sure that this data collection will help us to really get whatever we need. Then towards the national rollout, as I've said, we don't want piloting without thinking about the rollout. So these are the strategies. We did the logistic pilots between May and December last year. We tested the logistics and teaching methodology. We had some few materials, and then preparation for the national rollout. Then between August and January, as I'm talking now, we are finalizing the preparation plans and materials for the whole program, sensitization of the teacher community assistants, and then recruitment and then testing. And then between February and then August 2012, we will do this period to do the evaluation and variation, looking at the various categories that we have. And hopefully, if everything becomes successful, we will do the rollout at the end of 2012. So in conclusion, the Ministry of Education, the Ghana Education Service, in collaboration with its partners, Ghana National Association of Teachers, Ghana National Youth Employment Program, and Innovation for Poverty Actions, and all other interested development partners, are committed in ensuring the success of the TICAI program to address quality education for all Ghanaian children, so that we can see the children smiling as we see. Thank you very much.